There is a stone slab with the inscription, "Strangers are just friends you haven't met yet," across from the main pavilion. This is of much significance in this message. Getting to know new individuals is more important than merely meeting them. The person nearest to us is the most important friend. We are that. In a time when technology enables us to swiftly communicate with a large number of individuals, we lack time for self-care. We never took the time to listen to our inner voice, even if we know and interact with other people. When are we at a calm spot on our own, liberated from external interruptions? One frequently experiences a sense of alienation from oneself, as we're not accustomed to living alone. It's challenging to be friendly to yourself. However, that is the most crucial factor. If we could just learn to accept and even like ourselves, we'll discover that fame or fortune are not the sources of true happiness, but it originates from the heart's internal balance. We won't need to look outside of ourselves to find happiness when we are genuinely attuned to ourselves, and will have the capacity to completely share that joy with others. It's finally happened. When the family business he had saved was valued at tens of billions of baht, a young businessman told himself. Ultimately, he put in a lot of effort to pay off $1 billion in debt in a little 3 years. He ought to be happy in other people's sight. However, a sense of worthlessness and dullness gradually seeped into his heart. He decided to enter politics after thinking, maybe I need a new challenge. I'd be thrilled if you became a minister. However, once he was merely a deputy minister, he started to believe that this job was insufficient to provide him the satisfaction he desired. Once more, he assured himself, I will be satisfied if I become a minister. And he finally gained promotion to that role. However, the contentment I believed I had vanished once more, as the ministry he managed was not as significant as he had anticipated. It has to be a significant ministry. That's quite enough, he told himself again, and happiness never arrived when he did, in fact, win that job. In addition, he had to deal with a political matter that promptly put a stop to his political career. The day he had to quit politics, he asked himself, why am I never happy? His story reveals his quest for fulfillment in worldly conditions or beyond himself, which never fully fulfilled him. No matter how successful he was, he continued to feel hostile and estranged from himself. Seeking happiness from sources outside of oneself can be alluring. However, it never made up for the void inside. Real happiness stems from self-acceptance and self-discovery. He came to the conclusion, maybe true happiness is right around the corner from that mirror. Looking at his reflection, which at last started to gradually disappear. Learn about yourself gradually. Remaining motionless, sitting idly by, may seem simple, but in practice, a lot of people may find it to be quite challenging. Being by themselves without outside distractions might be uncomfortable for many people, or may be incapable of accepting oneself. For this reason, people tend to look for something to do. This is done in order to stay out of conflict with oneself. Meditation practitioners frequently face this problem to the utmost degree when on the path to Dhamma practice. For instance, walking meditation by themselves for up to 3 hours could agitate them and encourage them to search for diversions, such watching leaves fall to the ground and picturing themselves sweeping everything up with a broom. Even though a single leaf doesn't really create much trouble, this sensation indicates that he needs to face his own feelings and ideas. When a practitioner gets bored and wants to do other things, like cleaning or cooking, he may ask himself, why is it taking so long to do this? Even though I'm exhausted from work, practicing the Dhamma is still quite difficult for me. The advanced level of Dhamma practice compels us to fully confront our inner selves and emotions. Uncomfortable feelings like boredom, distraction, and discomfort are all around us. It is more than just putting misery in front of us. However, it also deepens our understanding of ourselves. We are able to see our mental condition clearly at this point. When a practitioner tries to live with these sentiments, he may realize perhaps what we feel uncomfortable or disgusted with is just the devil's deceit trying to keep us from self-discovery. Bravely taking on this task is necessary for self-discovery and self-understanding. If we overcome our internal barriers and give up, it will be impossible for us to find our own truth. Finding true happiness and understanding oneself require fighting your inner demons and standing your ground. When we have the courage to confront the truth and refuse to hide from ourselves. As the Buddha demonstrated, we shall be able to free ourselves from the devil's influence and discover true happiness. Knowing oneself entails more than just knowing oneself. Or what sort of conduct do you exhibit? To perceive clearly the truth about your body and mind is to truly know yourself. Observe until you realize that this is not my body. We are not this heart. Also, our perception of who we are actually consists solely of the ideas and constructs we make of ourselves. Me has never existed from the start. When we fully comprehend this, attachment and selfishness will go. It's similar to getting out of the trap the devil has prepared for us. We will no longer allow suffering to settle into our hearts. Anger and happiness are incompatible. Knowing who you are is not the only aspect of knowing oneself. It is recognizing the body's and mind's true nature. This is the secret of being freed from the devil's influence. One entity that seeks to ensnare us in its web is the devil. This is exactly the same as when a hunter sets a snare in order to capture prey. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. Or running away from personal struggles. It resembles avoiding the snare of the devil. We shall always be at its mercy if we consistently shun it. However, we will be able to stick with it if we have the courage to confront the obstacles of boredom, distraction, and discomfort head-on. After overcoming this phase, we shall ultimately attain genuine liberty and contentment. Being friendly to oneself does not mean running away from oneself. It's about dealing with all that's going on in your heart and fearlessly facing yourself. When we are able to live in harmony with ourselves after overcoming our inner fight, being kind to ourselves will lead to the freedom and happiness that come with it. Come, put Dhamma into practice. Allow us to greet and get along with ourselves, since that is a crucial step in escaping the devil's influence. And locating genuine happiness, establishing inner equilibrium, is a necessary part of being compassionate to oneself. Refrain from letting fear, greed, or insatiable desire rule your life. Establishing a genuine connection with ourselves. At that point in time, we'll realize that material possessions or social standing don't truly determine one's level of happiness. However, it is contingent upon acknowledging and embracing our true selves. It's not necessary to look outside of yourself for happiness. Long-lasting happiness is the result of treating yourself with kindness, not need to depend on outside sources. We won't experience the never-ending longing that comes with material success or goods when we are content inside. For the reason of harnessing happiness, we will be so overflowing with happiness that stems from our own pleasure that we will spread this support to others, and sharing will render us all happier, both we and our surroundings. Thus, taking care of oneself is not the only aspect of being friendly to oneself. However, it also makes it possible for us to discover genuine, long-lasting happiness, which will also spread to other people.